Welcome one and all to the USC Podcast number 10. I know there's no number 9. That was some technical difficulties on our part. I talk like 90% of the podcast, so all the audio from me on my side was all corrupted and everything else, so it was unusable. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry I didn't let you guys know sooner. But hey, yes, we're on podcast number 10. It only took us when did we start this? Like 10 months ago?
I don't really remember, actually.
I think it was in like April or May. One of those.
So we're currently on the rate 1 per month.
Yeah, I think that's our average, but we did take like a 6-month break. But yeah, it's quite a milestone, I would say. That's as far as I've ever gotten producing a podcast. So, yay for Hanson. All right, let's move on right along to the introductions. Dante.
Hello everyone, I'm DanteP, and I'm in charge of StatCom for the USC.
Hello all, I am Ogi the Great. I am the XO of TrackCom, and I am the resident genius of the USC.
Self-proclaimed resident genius.
Still a genius.
And I'm Vampire, I'm a senior envoy at the USC.
And I'm Hanson SCO, your benevolent podcast host. I'm also the executive officer of StatCom. DanteP is my boss, along with the other Dante, who is also my second boss. I can never escape these people. In any case, before we go into what we're going to talk about, I do want to issue a public apology. It came to my attention that some things slipped through editing that some people may have found offensive. I know in podcast 8, we used an offensive derogatory term directed at one of our podcasters. It has since been removed from that podcast. We will have that back up for public viewing. Once again, I do want to apologize for those of you who may have found that offensive, and I really hope this doesn't make some sort of stain on the reputation of the USC, and it won't happen again in the future. So moving right along, Orion, tell me about this.
Yeah, that is the newest and coolest thing to come out of Robert Space Industries. Both, actually, the site and the in-game company, too, so that's, it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's really flippin' big and built for taking apart asteroids. It's interesting.
I can agree with the part that it is certainly the biggest, apart from the destroyer ship that is available. But I'm not impressed, to be honest. I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I don't know. All the other ships had a very unique style you haven't seen in other sci-fi movies or games or whatsoever. But this is the first ship which looks like every mini ship in every bloody sci-fi movie series ever.
I was going to say, it kind of looks like this right here. A little bit. Like, I don't know how many have played Ace Combat, but that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
I was just going to say, I was tooling through the forums a little, not that long ago, and one of the threads was about a possible military variant of the Orion, and essentially it was to put a spinal, ion cannon or whatever in it that just shoots out the front, and that would be very reminiscent of the ion frigates from Homeworld.
Well, it does have a size 6. Its primary mining hardpoint is size 6, so I don't know if you could refit that for putting an actual weapons hardpoint on it. But, size 6 is pretty powerful in terms of weapons, so you could kind of do that.
No, I was saying that, like I said before, I find that it's a very stereotypical space aircraft. It looks like a spaceship from movies from the 90s. It has a big part around it that rotates for some reason. According to the concept art, it's to make unloading easier, to drop it off. But that doesn't explain it why in the concept video in the beginning and everything, the thing is constantly turning, spinning around.
Good, because I know this has been explained in like other sci-fi shows and games that the turning could also be forming artificial gravity.
No, sorry, I have to disagree with that one, because if that would be the case, that means the constellation has to constantly turn around its axis to make gravity, and especially seeing that the cockpit and all the other manufacturing points of these ships are not turning itself, this is not really a point for it.
We've also seen in the FPS reveal video that there are just gravity generators that you can turn on and off.
Yeah, so I don't think the rotation is for artificial gravity. The thing is, I can see 2 reasons for it. One is Yeah, it would make loading and unloading easier because if let's say that there is a at a refinery, there's a hatch that you load your ore modules into. If you can just rotate the modules around your ship and then kick them into the hopper, then you don't need anything more extensive than just a door into space. Whereas if they're stationary, then you have to either rotate the entire ship or have some sort of specialized clamp or whatever that goes around the entire ship. Another possibility that I've read, and again, this was on the fora, that I saw like 20, 30 minutes ago, is that the purpose of the rotating modules is to preserve the balance of the ship and, to make sure that it's not, heavier on one side than another.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain it to me. Sorry. If we go back to what you said, let's start with that one, the easy unloading. Why not have it simply a round circle cargo hold around the ship with one hatch on each side, which you can open? I mean, first of all, of course, it's just rocks that going in there as ore or whatsoever. It doesn't make if it gets shaken around or if it gets damaged, since it's not refined yet, obviously. So there is no need of handling it with care whatsoever. Second of all, you could just simply make a huge bulk area underneath the ship and have then a hatch at the bottom and let it dump then via vacuum or whatever at the space station. And in regard to the stability, again, the only reason why they have the instability is because they decided, instead of putting it in one place on the ship, to make it in 4 spots around the ships. So,
or even then, they could just load it up evenly into each of the 4 various corners of the cargo bay.
yeah,
So
exactly.
because the thing is, if you do have an uneven distribution in the cargo bays and you're spinning around, that means if you're trying to fly forward, you'll end up going in a spiral as the weight shifts around, which will make it even harder to go in a straight line.
Yeah, but also don't forget, we're flying in 0 gravity. It doesn't matter if the ship is heavier on one end or the other, unless you're not distributing the load evenly before you enter a planet. You shouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, it's not like the International Space Station is turning to the left because they have a huge radar dish on that side.
But they're not also accelerating much, or turning.
You killing me? Dude, the International Space Station accelerates around Earth like 5 times a day.
I think he meant the Orion is not going to accelerate much.
Oh, yeah. Well, what surprised me about this thing, when I was looking at it, it looked like it was a really, really, really big ship. And, I mean, it's probably because I'm an EVE player, and a big ship is like 13 kilometers long to me. But I was looking at the specs, and it's only like 250 meters, give or take.
170. It's about 60, 70 meters shorter than the Idris.
Yeah.
So think about this, so the Idris is bigger. Like, quite a bit bigger.
Yeah. And like the Javelin's like twice as big.
More than twice.
Yeah, but good, that are warships. I mean, tell me one civil cargo or mining ship we have on Earth that's bigger than an American aircraft carrier.
Or not super carriers,
Super tankers.
Super tankers, thank you.
Yeah, they're like 2K long, aren't they? Or 1K long or something crazy.
They're pretty long. I think the largest ship in the world was a tanker. It was huge. I'm gonna look that up for you guys.
Yeah, but, I mean, in terms of it being a fairly conventional design, I mean, the thing is that RSI designs the ships to work. And, and designs them to work how they would actually work. I mean, to be fair, I don't really see another way to make a mining ship work.
Well, that's a discussion for itself, but let me say, RSI not always goes with a system that would work in real life. I can give you 2 examples for that. First one is the landing gear of the Hornet. A military wouldn't have these tracks kind of landing gear for a carrier-based ship because it doesn't make any logical sense. And the second is the Gladiator with the elaborate system for the pilot and the co-pilot to get in. Don't get me wrong, I love the system, it looks very awesome. But believe me, the military would rather be interested in having more electronical or warfare systems in this plane instead of having an easier access for the pilots and preventing them from losing a ladder. So it's not all really 100 up to engineering spec, and I'm not expecting it, but yeah, again, there is no innovation in here. I mean, look at the Reclaimer. The design of it is never seen anything like this before. I can say this for every ship, but again, this one, yeah, it's a mining ship. I don't even need to see the. Sorry, I don't even have to see the description of it. I look at it; it's a mining ship.
Have you seen Firefly?
Yep.
because the Reclaimer screams Firefly-class transport to me.
Well, I mean, they always took inspiration from somewhere. And real quick, Petraeus, the largest ship ever built was 458 meters long.
I think, and whereas like a Nimitz carrier is only 340 meters, isn't it?
Well, the USS Enterprise was 341.
Yeah, so you care about that.
Okay, I swallow my words then. I apologize for the bullshit out of my mouth earlier.
No, you're just playing devil's advocate like you always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just the nasty guy of the bunch. I don't wish anybody happiness. I want everybody to suffer and hate the world as I do.
I'm sure you do. Alright, so moving on to that, I also saw there was a topic on RSI about the mining occupation. It was a design topic.
Yeah, I read through the designer post, and where it lays out all the jobs that a crew person can do. It's pretty cool.
What do you think that might mean for like US IC?
Well, is mining actually under the IC or the AE at this point?
It'd be IC, their interstellar commerce. AE would be like fixing the warships, pretty much, and stuff like that, I think.
Because I remember seeing some debate on the forums over who actually was going to do mining in the end. I don't think we actually know for certain.
Yeah, I don't recall if we ever finally hashed that out.
Well, I think a lot of it is just because the ambiguity of what the IC and the AE are. I mean, because we know that the IC are, of course, in charge of making us money, but we never really exactly said what that entails or what aspect of making that money there is.
Well, I guess High Command will have to make up a flowchart and design a specific task for each department to take care of. They still have time to do it, of course, and thankfully that's a job I not have to do because I'm not getting paid enough for it.
Well, I mean, for the most part, it doesn't really matter that much because it's not like anything's really that much tied to a branch. It's more of just who organises those kind of things. Because for the most part, I mean, when it comes to stuff like, for example, I mean, mining stuff, you're going to need, to do a proper mining operation, you're going to need the exploration corps, or the expeditionary corps to find the mine asteroid field, defence force to make sure that it's safe and defend it, then AE probably to fix anything that gets broken or to mine, IC to mine and to transport the stuff away and sell it. So regardless, everyone's going to have something to do. So
yeah, and I thought about it, but I decided not to pick up an Orion, because I have my Carrack, and I figure that I'll just partner with someone who does have an Orion. My ship goes out, finds the stuff to mine with the help of the miner dude. We go back to base. We take out the Orion, crew it up, and tear that asteroid apart.
We also need to remember we also need people to crew the ships as well. Because I mean, the Orions are six per crew ship, so and we still don't know how useful NPCs are going to be.
Yeah.
And not only that, but don't forget, we also don't know how the persistent universe works. I mean, like you just said, you plan to go out, find something, then come back and grab the other ship. Maybe it will be very busy. Maybe you have to go out with the Orion or already from the start and then have 2 or 3 escorts, explorer ships visit on the site and look for it. And once they find something, you pick it up right away because you can't risk leaving it in space for too long because somebody else would find it.
Maybe. We shall see.
Well, I'm looking at this thing where it has an overview of what it might look like when you view an asteroid field. It's very Eve-esque.
I think they're taking a lot of inspiration for that side of the game from Eve, I would imagine, because I mean the way it works in Eve, I think, does work quite well actually, for the most part. I mean, obviously, this game won't have gate camping or anything like that, but you will still have the ability to fight over minefields and that kind of stuff, and you have to defend your big mining expeditions that you do. And those are the kinds of things that were really fun about Eve.
Yeah, but I'm very curious about the system. I mean, they've gone into much detail, and this is the difficult part where they have to prove that they're up to the task. I mean, as you said before, mining in Eve, you do it basically on your own. You don't have crew members on your ship or other players. Here, they have to develop a system where you have other players on your ship. They like to do the task, which will be sort of minigame-esque kind of thing. And they have to have fun doing it, because otherwise you end up with nobody who wants to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Eve has never been designed for you to ever work as a team. Eve has been one of those things where it's every man for himself.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say that, because having an organization, especially when you get to nullsec, is pretty important.
Well, yeah. But the second they get the chance, they'll betray your ass.
Well, I mean, that depends how trustworthy they go to join us.
Eve players are not trustworthy. Trust me, I'm one of them.
Trust me, they can't be trusted. Nice statement.
It's a little circular, but whatever. To be fair, Hanson, I never trusted you anyway.
Thanks, Ogie.
No problem. But I think a more interesting discussion would be, how they're going to take the mining mechanics and move them to other ships. Because, I mean, theoretically, you could have all of the necessary mining stuff in a module that could fit on an Aurora. And you could essentially, be a wildcat miner, kind of like a gold panner, or whatever.
That cargo capacity, though.
I mean, that could definitely work, because, if you look down what you actually need, in terms of, all you really need is a mining laser. But the problem is that the Orion has a size 6 mining laser, which is absolutely huge. How effective could you be with a size 1 or a size 2 laser? Would that actually, because I imagine it's not a linear progression in terms of firepower. So, you might be able to do it, but I'm not sure how effective it would actually be. And of course, there's the issue of cargo space as well. And you don't have dedicated tracked beams for collecting it, so you have to go out EVA to collect it. So it's possible, but it's just much harder if you're doing it in fighters.
Well, I don't think there will be also limitation. Like you said, the Aurora, I think the Aurora can't be a mining ship just because of the fact where the cargo space is installed or so. And I can't see any other ship pretty much good, maybe the Constellation, where you have a cargo hatch that you could open and fly it in a way to scoop up the cargo. The Constellation at least opens in the bottom and has this huge scoop then. But the Aurora has its cargo on the back, behind the cockpit, so you're flying towards a rock and then backing up backwards like you would with a caravan or what.
Or, I was actually envisioning, essentially, that the Aurora would, go belly up, and that, a small mining laser and a small tractor would be at the bottom of a module, roughly the size of a big box.
I don't think the Aurora can mount a tractor, because that requires a Class 2.
But also, you gotta think of one thing, and this is the point Vampier brought up, was the Aurora, the cargo space is literally what's behind the pilots. So you're not gonna be opening that to open space because you'll die.
Well, the way I imagined it though is because you mine off some rocks and then you put on your spacesuit and you jump outside and you manually EVA the rocks into your cargo bay. This is the way I would imagine it would work in those smaller ships.
It'll take a long time.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth the effort, especially with how little cargo you can haul in with that stuff.
My Space Penguin, though, that has a big cargo scoop in the back, big ramp.
Yeah, but it comes then. Let me just quickly check the stats. How many cargo can the Orion haul? I think 16,000 or so.
Yeah, it's a magnitude of about 1,000 difference, I think, between the Avenger and the Orion.
And I'm actually seeing two. I'm seeing two numbers. I see 600 standard cargo units, cargo capacity, and then bulk ore capacity is 16,288 SCU.
I think that means the rotating bits on the edge of 16,000, and then it has an internal capacity of 600. I reckon that the 16,000 is probably ore only. You can't take anything more delicate inside it because it's pretty rugged. I imagine.
It's probably the same as Eve, where you have your ore hold, your drone bays, and then your actual cargo hold. It's probably something like that.
Because they wouldn't want you using the Orion as just a bulk trading ship, because that's not what it's designed for.
Well, that opens an interesting point. We had already with a couple of people the discussion that you could potentially use the Reclaimer as a cargo ship, since the area for the shipwrecks is on top of the rest and it's just an open area, so that could basically work. But if you would try that with the Orion, again coming back to that these cargo pods rotate, fragile cargo is not your friend to transport that in this baby. But I can certainly see if you want to pick up some, raw materials from System A to bring it to System B, that could also work with this ship.
I guess, but that would require something more of a freighter. Like I said, that mining ship is mainly just get the ore, refine it, sell it, or prep it for transport. Because it doesn't look like it'd be a very fast or effective ship to haul cargo in.
Well, because the Misk Hull C, according to the website, has about half the cargo capacity of the Orion.
But don't forget the Orion had more or less a quarter of the space it has now before the concept sales started, so don't take any of the values for what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah, I think that the design document did mention that they're really going to take another look at the larger ships.
Wouldn't at this point surprise me if the Orion will be, the Hull C would be able to carry 20,000 in it.
Yeah, actually, it says at the bottom of the design document, quote, Additionally, please note that mass data for large ships are currently inaccurate in comparison to smaller craft. The Orion's mass represents our first attempt at a more scientific method for determining mass, which will be applied to all large spacecrafts upon review by the design team.
I would want to know what that process is.
They probably use the 3D model.
And probably the appearance of my arch enemy, math.
Yeah.
I love math. That's my friend. I love math.
Well, you never worked as an engineer between American and European design, where you have constantly to divert from imperial system to metric system and back.
I was going to ask if he was an engineer.
So I think I didn't catch that.
I said, are you an engineer, Vampier?
Yes, I'm a trained engineer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. But a couple of years ago, there was a U.S. probe, or spacecraft or whatever, that went to Mars, and ended up burning up in the atmosphere. Because someone programmed something in imperial units when it should have been metric units.
Imperial's the best.
No, it's not. Metric system.
Metric is 10. It's just base 10. It's simple. You just add on the zeros to convert. That's all you do.
But it's 12 inches to a foot, 3 feet to a yard. I mean, it's so easy.
Yeah, but the metric system, you have higher tolerances where you can fit material in a production bin. I mean, I've seen it when you have American-made parts and they sometimes don't fit. You have to work them out again before they fit and everything because the inch system is just so imprecise.
Or you can have the British system where you use both.
The Americans also use both systems. They were actually busy diverting to the metric system, but I'm not sure. I think Edgar Hoover was it. I'm not sure which American president started it. Don't quote me on that one. But wherever he started it, one of the presidents, and then decided in the middle to not go through with it for some reason. But that's why half of the industry in America actually uses the metric system already.
J. Edgar Hoover was a director of the FBI. Herbert Hoover I think he was early 20th century president, so...
Yeah.
Well, I honestly admit I only know about the American history. There was a civil war. There was this guy who tried to implement the metric system. I know about George W. Bush and the Second World War, and that's basically it.
I know about the overthrow of Hawaii.
Yeah.
I know about when the British burned down the White House.
I remember when we kicked the British ass out of the U.S. Yeah, Petraeus. Also, when you guys went and burnt down D.C., you missed the building.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you missed the barracks at the Marine barracks at 88th and I. I mean, it still stands as a big F.U. to the British.
And it reminds me, the anniversary of the Battle of New Orleans was last month, and, that's when the Brits got a pretty thorough drubbing by... Andrew Jackson and pirates.
Oh yes, the pirates.
I mean, it was basically. I mean, the real. I'd say put it down to British parliamentary incompetence.
What about just British incompetence? No. All right, let's move on here. Dante, you said you might have something USC wise you want to talk about.
I'm not sure that's public right now.
I hate all of you.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because in regards to the United States Confederation stuff, mainly because I have access to a lot more forums than other people, so I can see things and I don't really realize that some of it's classified, some of it's not.
Well, Vampier, can you talk about, or have you talked about Artemis before?
No, I don't think we have we?
I'm talking about Vampier brings it up every single time.
And I didn't bring it up every single time, but the first 2 times in the podcast we brought it up, and seeing that it's not really much happened lately, there's not really a point to talk about.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
We played last Friday.
No, you didn't. I was there. Nobody was there yesterday.
Last Friday, not a week ago.
Well, real quick then, so there is a topic in the general about observations and ideas on the rudimentary USC structuring. I think someone posted up. Has anybody skimmed over that?
Nope.
I think I did, and it was it was just how to organize all of our sub organizations. How we have a defense force, sub organization, and it's really nothing. It's nothing new. It's what we're doing anyway.
Alrighty. And then I also stand corrected. The USC AE is actually working on their branch role, so that might give us some insight.
Yeah, and it's Bear King is the branch head. So
actually put a branch head.
Is Bear King the official branch head?
Thought he was.
I don't think he is, because all branch heads become cabinet members.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he should totally be the branch head, because he is a king after all.
Well, what about Mojo Monkey?
Well, I guess, alright, well, guys, hold up. This is the breaking USC news as of right now. Cheeno has picked up a guitar again.
Well, then cheers to Cheeno, or Eli Reese, whatever you want to call him.
I refuse to call him that. He's Cheeno.
Cheeno, yep, Cheeno.
No, it's Cheeno, not Cheetos.
Dangerously cheesy.
He's Cheetos to me.
It ain't easy being cheesy. I know you've seen that on a Family Guy Vampier.
I know what you guys talking about, don't worry. There's a nice little shop here where they sell a lot of American goodies, so...
What country do you live in again?
Netherlands.
Was that one of the countries that got taken over by the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, cool.
And basically the country which is the most, open-minded these days. We have willing women, we have free drugs. Everything is legal here.
I think I need to go take a trip to the Netherlands.
Yeah, CIG just needs to open... Actually, no, they're opening that office in Germany. Where in Germany, do we know?
I think it was near Frankfurt Main, but that was because the Cry people, also from the Cry engine, the developers were also based in that area.
You know, so when we were visiting Austin, CIG Austin, and the photos for that are, posted by CIG, to the world, and...
On Facebook?
Yeah, one of my friends posted that album, to my Facebook wall, and he was like, hey, is that you? And I'm like, yes it is. Anyways, but when we were there, it was, the CryEngine guy from the Next Great Starship competition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. Anyways, but so when we were driving up, we saw something that looked like a CryEngine office, and we asked him about, hey, was there a CryEngine office in Austin? And he was like, yeah, that's the one I worked at. And then they didn't pay us for 2 months, so we quit. So yeah, that sucks.
Hey guys, quick question: Is it the Oscars tonight or this weekend?
Is it the Academy Awards? I don't know. It's shit I don't care about.
I don't follow any of that stuff. I don't.
They're just basically stroking their own egos and helping each other out to next paycheck, so there's no real artistic license to it anymore.
Yeah, why, Hanson?
I was just saying, it's the Academy of Arts. I mean, if it's this weekend, I was gonna see if you guys were had any hopefuls for nominations or whatever.
Do not care. The only thing about that I know is that Neil Patrick Harris is hosting it, and he's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
And of course, tomorrow the entire internet will bitch and moan about again that Leonardo DiCaprio did not win an Oscar, while there are so many good actors out there who didn't. But I'm so sick and tired of this entire bullshit they're making.
However, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the actors that actually deserves one. There's a lot of great actors, but I don't think some of them deserve an Oscar. I think Leonardo DiCaprio has actually had a bunch of roles where he actually deserves an Oscar. Yeah.
You can see it in the entire system of the Oscars. It's just phony as hell. I remember a couple of years ago, I think, when Denzel Washington got the Oscar as Best Actor, and Halle Berry as Best Actress, and it was clearly just we now give him the Oscar to a black actor and whatever. I mean, I have nothing wrong against Denzel Washington, but I honest to God think Samuel L. Jackson is a much superior actor than Denzel Washington.
You're racist.
Why am I racist? Because I say I prefer one black guy over the other one, or what?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm a racist, and I'm proud of it. I'm a racist because I like one black guy better than the other one. So sue me.
But, getting back to Leonardo DiCaprio, I remember when he, first appeared as what's-his-face in Titanic, and at the time I was like, oh, I don't care, stupid pretty boy. And then I saw him in some other stuff like Catch Me If You Can. That was a good movie, and he did a really good job. So, I would agree with you, Hanson, that, he definitely deserves some solid props.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Django Unchained, Inception. I know a lot of people don't like Inception, but I think it was a good movie. I mean, he's actually done a bunch of great roles. That's why people love him. Like The Great Gatsby, it was a really great one. And that's why people are always like, he deserves an Oscar. And while they don't talk about other actors, because they haven't really done as, I guess, more unique roles that Leonardo DiCaprio has done. You look at those movies, and those are all kind of non-mainstream how movies usually are.
Yeah. But again, I think it's the Academy Awards tonight, which is something else, and I don't know or care.
It's the same thing as the Oscars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Oscars is given by the Academy of the Arts.
Oh, well then.
All right, so yeah, I think Emma Watson should also get an Oscar.
For what?
You know what I mean? Just for being Emma Watson.
Well, I'm not going to respond to that one.
Why not?
Because then you have to censor half the podcast again.
I mean, I already have the title card ready. I mean,
look, I can. Okay, I'm going to come a little bit towards you. I can agree that Emma Watson is a better actress than Kate Beckinsale. I have no problem with that, but that's also because the most movies Kate Beckinsale acts in are pretty shit. I mean, whoever volunteers to act in an Adam Sandler movie, that's pretty much poison to your career. On the other hand, I still find her as a woman more attractive than Emma Watson.
I don't know. But speaking of hot women, and that's probably going to be the final thing I'll end up saying, but Ghost in the Shell movie, they cast Scarlett Johansson, and I'm mad.
Did they?
Yeah. All the other actors are Asian, except for Scarlett Johansson, who's playing the actual main character, and that kind of upsets me.
That's Hollywood for you, man. They have a long history of just ignoring the whole, race thing.
Avatar.
No, it's
Avatar.
not only Hollywood. It's not only Hollywood. Japan is just equally as terrible. I mean, any of you know the anime Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
This anime plays in Germany. They have people from Germany, French, and whatsoever. Now they're making a real live-action movie from it. All the actors are Japanese, so Japan does the same thing, only with a different color scheme.
Well, no. See, it would make somewhat of sense for the Japanese because they actually make the show. All right, so all the characters look Japanese anyway in anime, give or take. But I mean, it'd be one thing if they were doing Ghost in the Shell and all the characters were white, right? Or like the good majority of them were, like all the main characters were white. But that's not how it is. Like this would be like them doing, the Japanese doing. Let's make all the characters in Attack on Titan German, except for the main character. Let's make him Japanese.
Well, that's literally what it is, though. Like
exactly, that it is actually. So that wouldn't even be a problem. But look, the point is, Ghost in the Shell is made by Western demand. It's the same like the Dragon Ball Evolution movie. Nobody in Japan is asking for it, but the Westerners are. Yeah, let's make a live-action movie out of this series.
But keep it authentic, I've been a big Ghost in the Shell fan. Like that series has been out for 20 years.
Then believe me, if I recommend you, do not go watch that movie. You can only be disappointed. There's never been any Japanese base which American decided to make a movie of where they didn't completely fuck over the law.
Oh no, I mean I've seen good movies of animes, but they weren't like live action.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They were produced in Japan. Look, if the original developer, the original guys who came up with the stories or company does it, then okay, good, they can still fuck up. I mean, let's face it, live-action series in Japan are also not the best of the best. But every time an American studio tried to take over a Japanese intellectual property and do something with it came out horribly.
It's not just restricted to live action as well. Like back in the day when Ghibli was starting out their films, I think it was Mononoke they sent over to be over to localization, and instead of just sort of translating it, doing the dubbing it, they also made loads of cuts and changes. They cut out most of the storyline. They made the plot much more simple. They cut out all the undertones to make it more simple for a Western audience.
That's because Americans are stupid.
Yeah.
But that was not Mononoke. Mononoke was actually one of a good translation, but that what you're talking about is in the 80s, when a lot of cartoons got completely changed, and the guy we're in Japan, yeah, he's the guy who's constantly drunk in the American version. He's the happy guy who drinks lemonade.
I think it's Nausicaa I'm talking about. Valley of the Wind.
Yeah, Nausicaa makes sense, because Mononoke was not one of them. And then Mononoke actually did a pretty good job.
Well, I remember, like, the next time that they sent a film over there, the American company sent a request back to say, can we make some cuts here and there and whatsoever. And as a response, Ghibli just sent out a katana to them in the post. That was it.
Interesting.
Studio Ghibli for the win. I can only respect them more. All right, guys, we got to wrap up here. I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast today, and as well as our longtime fans. I can say longtime because we started up late last year. So if you've still been watching for that long,
Listening.
Congratulations. I'm sorry. Shut up, Ogie.
Edit.
Yeah, well, once again, I don't know. I think I said this last podcast, but since it didn't get up there, Ogie is the official co-host, or one of the official co-hosts now, because he's been here the longest, really. So it's kind of like he was like a stray cat, and we just like feed him. So now he's like part of the family now.
Legit. I mean, I was envisioning more, the the best friend or the lackey, the simpering lackey to the talk show host, like that kind of guy.
No, you're the stray cat that we feed.
Well, then I'm gonna piss on your shoes.
You better not. I'll put you down. I'll sell you to the Chinese restaurant up the street.
Okay, for the next podcast, we're going to change the itchy and scratchy opening and then make one for Hanson and Ogiwan. They fight. Fight. The Hanson and Ogie show.
Boom. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Want to encourage everybody, if you haven't already, to join the United Space Confederation at UnitedSpaceConfederation.com and the forums at UnitedSpaceConfederation.engine.com. Both links will be in the description. Also want to encourage everybody to like and subscribe this video and to the USC channel, respectively, and to follow me on Twitter at Lyoko222. That's LYOKO222. I have a Tumblr. I don't ever use it, but hey, you can go follow me on there too. Same thing. We will be back in 2 weeks for podcast number 11, technically 10, technically 8, because I still have like 2 podcasts, I think 4 and 5 in my folders that I never got to edit or release. They might be released, they might not, because Hanson doesn't have time. But yeah, thanks guys.
All right, so...
Have a good one.
Yep, take care, I'll see you in the verse.